Okay, so you find us on day 2 of World Aviation Festival here in Lisbon, probably the busiest day of the week. And actually, Ken Sain, who's joined me, or I've joined him on his stand in the Panasonic Avionics stand. Yep. Ken is the CEO of Panasonic Avionics. Ken, you've just arrived in the country, so welcome.
Thank you.
Got through immigration, okay?
That was pretty quick.
Yeah. Look, behind us, you're showing your connectivity, your screens, and what people can do when they're engaging on flights.
Yep.
Just tell us a little bit about what is behind us and what you're showing off this week.
Well, you might wonder, why is Panasonic here?
Yeah.
And because we have embedded screens inside the cabins, and most of the other applications you see around here are really focused on web and mobile, which are 2 digital channels that the airlines have in order to reach their customers. But as it turns out, the screens that are embedded on these in these cabins have 10 times the dwell time that someone might actually be using an app for.
Yeah. It's the ultimate captured audience, obviously.
Very much so. Yeah. Seatbelt, told they have to sit in their seat and shouldn't get up, right? Yeah. And so there's a great opportunity to sort of link the 2 worlds, where we bring the seat back into the existing ecosystem that the airlines already have, their first 2 digital channels, web and mobile, and then have a consistent digital experience across the travel journey. So web and mobile for pre-flight and post-flight, and then onboard the seatback screen.
Yeah. So what are the latest advances? I know you're using AI. You've got an AI assistant, I think, being demonstrated over there.
Yeah, we are working on things around AI, but there's an awful lot of hype, I would say, inside the market today.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident there are some good use cases, and we're working on those, but those are going to be a couple of years out.
Yeah.
What we're demonstrating here is our latest system called Astrova.
Yep.
And it's a seatback system, and it's the first seatback system that's upgradable on wing, which has been the #1 pain point that airlines have had about investing in technology that goes into a cabin, because the mobile devices, the pads, they change pretty rapidly from consumer technology. And so we designed this system to be able to stay up to speed, keep pace with it.
So when they want to exchange the screens in cabin, it's an easier job.
Well, it's going to be less about the screens. So what we did, what was unique, was we took the processing power and the memory out of the screen.
Right.
So all previous systems were smart monitors, where the processor and the memory was inside the monitor. The problem with that is then it's in the HIC path, which is a head impact criteria. They have to use a dummy to hit it 16 Gs and the whole bit, which is very expensive to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And so we moved all of those things underneath the seat. And what it allows us to do is in the seat boxes, swap out the seat boxes without changing the screens.
Right.
The technology on the screens is, OLED, 4K. It's the most advanced technology.
Yeah.
It's going to be around for over a decade. No one's going to want to change the screens.
I was in Hamburg when they were launched 2 years ago.
Yeah, we did.
Was it?
I think it was like
last year, it was the year before, I believe, if I remember correctly.
The year before that, actually.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So
we came out with our first 13, and then we expanded all the way up to now. We got a 55-inch screen and curved screens as well.
Yeah. And these are now going into aircraft, aren't they? You've got, of course, customers
big time
putting them on in the air.
There's this has been the fastest adopted embedded system we've ever had by a factor of 2.
Okay.
And it's going to be flying on 40 airplanes this year, 400 airplanes next year, close to 1,000 the year after.
Okay, so that ramp up happens.
So it's a huge ramp up. We're very focused making sure that the ramp up goes well. But it is, and it's a great product, and it's really doing well in the marketplace.
One of the factors we talked about is engagement, personalization with these screens. It's kind of dwell time. So in other words, you're giving people something interesting they want to do.
Yeah.
One of on the AI assistant, for instance, just talking to your colleague before, is what's my journey through the airport going to be like when I arrive? Have you just gone through this? Is the queue for immigration huge?
Yeah.
Not that you can change that, but it just mentally prepares you for what's coming.
Right.
That's one application.
Yeah.
But what are the other kind of things? I mean, this all will emerge, I'm sure, as people use it. But what else do you see?
What I'm most excited about is if you get on an airplane today, the screens generally treat every passenger on board that plane the exact same way.
Yeah.
It doesn't know who you are. That's all about to change, though. And it's going to be the combination of in-flight connectivity, particularly LEO, low latency, high bandwidth connectivity, along with embedded screens. The issue, there's only about 5% of screens today that are connected to the internet And the internet that they're connected to is geostationary satellites, which has high latency so it can't connect to cloud solutions.
Right.
So with the introduction of LEO, we're going to be able to connect all of these screens to back office cloud solutions to deliver personalized experience at every single seat.
So the Leo,
different experience.
so for those who don't know, Leo versus Geo, the Leo gives you flexibility to do more.
Leo
to do more content, to provide more content on demand almost.
Faster. So Leo is low Earth orbit satellite, only a few hundred miles away from Earth. Geosynchronous satellites are 22,000 miles away. And the issue with that is it's physics, at the speed of light. It still takes almost 700, 800 milliseconds to go back and forth between the plane and the internet. With Leo, it's going to be about 100 seconds or 100 milliseconds or less. And cloud solutions are built for the ground with latency that's under 200, under 100 milliseconds. So it's the first system that's going to allow us to truly connect these to the ground, to ground-based systems to deliver that personalized experience. That's why we are so excited about what's about to happen. And a lot of people think, well, could LEO, connectivity displace the screens? And the answer to that is absolutely not. In fact, what it's going to do is it's going to create an entirely different digital experience inside the cabin, moving away from entertainment and more towards passenger engagement, personalization, driving the NPS even higher. It changes the business value of screens. And that's why we're seeing actually greater adoption of screens today than just 5 years ago. It's that potential.
And one example of that was actually an announcement this week is what you're doing with your maps. Which is, maps are maps, but they are amazingly popular.
Well, we have some people in our company who just think maps all day and very excited about it. But they're the number one used application in the cabin.
So the question is, how do they become more personalized? What have you announced this week, and what is the future for maps?
Well, with map, we built our map on sort of a gaming engine that allows you to put layers of information to help you understand what you're flying over. You can dive down into a city that you're flying over. It can provide offers for hotels, for the destination that you're going to. So those are all different capabilities that we're putting into the system. And then the airlines themselves are going to decide what they want to display beyond the normal geographic map information.
So there's going to be a lot more interactivity and personalization around just on that map functionality. I think you were saying before we started, it's still one of the most engaged with pieces of content on the screen, which
everyone uses the map. Almost everyone uses the map.
But this is pointing to the future of generally of what a customer sat in front of that screen for 13 hours or 10 hours, whatever it is. That's what they'll be using the screen for.
Well, we view our role as providing the tools for airlines to create their branded digital passenger experience. And the map is one way to do that, because now we allow them to brand it in new ways, bring different types of data in, personalize ads or whatever it might be. They can do that. But we're doing that same sort of model across the entire IFE system. So if you think about it, most airlines are probably using the same tools to create their website. And so they use the best, in class tool, but then they put their branding, their strategy into it to make it their own. Our goal is to do the same thing in the cabin and allow them to take control of the screens in ways that they haven't been able to in the past, so that they can make it their digital experience. And then create a digital experience. If you have 200 people on the plane, you can have literally 200 different digital experiences programmed in. And you can change it every flight,
and even the map itself would not be just the same for everybody. It will provide a different vision, different
one
tools.
Example would be like the map could display all the previous flights that particular passenger has had in the past year. Airplanes, that are around them. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. It's just a bunch of layers of information that you can add to that. And again, LEO is going to open low Earth orbit satellite connectivity is going to be able to open up a whole new world of data that can be applied to it in real time.
Okay. Before we finish up, just a few words. You've just arrived, so it's hard to ask you about how the show's gone so far. Literally,
I hope to find out soon.
But yeah, what you said why we're here. You come here every year. It's a big
this is actually,
big investment for Panasonic.
Well, this is new for us. This is I think our second year.
Okay. So what is it? What is it about a show as big as this, where everyone comes together for 3 days?
What I love is that there are customers here that we generally don't get to spend a lot of time with.
Yeah.
And those are the digital teams at the airlines. And again, the digital teams, have done amazing things with their apps.
Yeah.
And over the past 5 or 10 years. And our goal is to connect, the seatback systems into their ecosystem so they can take control of the seatback the same way they've taken control of their apps.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here.
I guess the other thing is there's lots of airlines here, but you look around, lots of other exhibitors doing revenue management. And you actually don't know who you might want to meet before you meet them in some ways. And actually, what they do could align with what you do.
Yeah.
But it's only at shows like this where that becomes apparent, I suppose. So there's a bit of serendipity about being here and just talking about what you're doing and opening people's eyes to the possibilities.
Yeah.
So, look, Ken, thanks for your time. I'm sure you've got a busy couple of days ahead of you, so appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
See you.
Thank you.
See you again soon. Okay, it's still day 2 here in Lisbon at World Aviation Festival, and we found a quietish spot on the outside of the show to speak to SunExpress, and we have Max Kownatzki, who is the CEO of SunExpress. SunExpress is a leisure airline, part owned by Lufthansa and Turkish Airlines, so a joint venture. Welcome.
Thank you, Lee. Thanks for having me.
Show so far. Just give us a good idea of the airline. I know. Like I said, it's a leisure airline. A fleet of 85 aircraft.
At the moment, that's right.
So give us an overview of the operation.
SunExpress, you said it, 50-50 joint venture of Turkish Airlines and Lufthansa. Founded in 1989, 35-year anniversary. Celebration happened not too long ago.
Okay.
When I started about 6 years ago, we were at 38 aircraft. We're now at 85, 86 aircraft, and we have an aircraft order of 132 Boeing MAX 8, MAX 10s.
Okay.
So that will take us above the 100. We've had a great ride out of the COVID crisis. We're currently operating into 237 routes on 92 destinations in 35 countries.
Yeah.
And we're operating at an ACE-K capacity level of about 190% compared to 2019. So why did we get out of the crisis so well? Because we have 3 customer segments: the touristic part, which makes up roughly 45%, the VFR segment, the ethnic travel, visiting friends and relatives.
Yeah.
And that really, if you are familiar with the Turkish culture a little bit, we have 3.6 million Turks living in Germany alone.
Yeah.
They travel when, mother, aunt, uncle have some family reunions, and they travel COVID, independent. So that's really carried us through crisis. The last segment is the domestic segment, and that's diversification of our portfolio has carried us quite well.
So your core to date has been that those markets in Europe, like Germany's, where there's a lot of Turkish people who live, and they're going backwards and forwards from Turkey. But of course, then you're doing all these leisure routes.
That's right.
You don't know Istanbul, but you're going to the Turkish Riviera and places like that.
Right.
We're going on holiday. Work with tour operators a lot as well. I know. Growing network into the UK, I believe, as well. That's
that was a great venture. We started that in the summer of 22 with 3 airports at the beginning, 300,000 seats on offer, and we're now at roughly 2 million seats on offer, operating into 13 airports in the UK and Ireland. So a tremendous growth story. The growth rates in the first year, summer 22 to summer 23, was 85%. And then 78% the year after. So very, very happy with that market entry. Obviously, in terms of the customer segmentation we talked about, that is more of a leisure, sun and beach travel. We have a 60% market share into the Riviera. The Turkish Riviera is basically anywhere from Izmir, Bodrum, Dalaman to Antalya. And on that stretch, we're definitely the market leader.
I know access to seats for tour operators been constrained with what happened with Thomas Cook, and then TUI becoming much more in-house. So actually access to seats for some of these independent operators is gold, isn't it? So
absolutely,
you're filling that market. You mentioned fleet and fleet renewal, so these aircraft are coming on board now. How is that going? I know there's been constraints there. And
well, you may have seen some press quotes of mine. I think last year at the same place. Obviously, we'd be happier with a more on-time delivery of these aircraft. Last year it couldn't be fast enough, honestly. in terms of resources, aircraft, crew. Grow was sort of the MO. But I think we've seen the improvements by Boeing as well. I think operationally, in terms of their production quotas, they're increasing the numbers gradually. There's the FAA cap of 38, which we're really kind of starting to bump into. So we're happy with the improvements we're seeing on the Boeing side. And that's why we're also in negotiations of firming up the remainder of our order at the moment. That's definitely something, growth we're still committed to.
Yeah, okay. And so there's not just the new aircraft, but it's keeping the older aircraft in the air for longer as well. So we know that's putting strain on MRO, it's putting strain on supply chain and parts.
Yeah.
How are you coping with that?
Well, I mean, the orders we have are MAX 8s with an upgauge right to MAX 10s, one certified. And MAX 10s is really kind of sort of the aircraft we're looking for. We are anticipating to be at a 85 to 90% share of MAX aircraft compared to the NGs or the overall fleet. And as such, it's just a must, have, because obviously you need the lower fuel operating expenses with the new engine technology. We're definitely going down that road and replacing NGs for Maxes, whether it's 8 or 10, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I just caught a bit of Willie Walsh on stage earlier. Willie's typically Willie talked a lot about I think sustainability and the strains on the airline industry to pay for sustainability when there's loads of other stakeholders out there. I mean, what are your views? How are you? And he said, look, the airlines are doing all they can in a situation where they can't impact on everything. You've got airframe suppliers, engine suppliers, fuel suppliers. Everyone's got to play a part. How do you see things done?
Well, it's not only the suppliers. Obviously, the suppliers are sort of one part of the cost items, but it's also fees and regulatory charges that have been over proportionally increased. And we're definitely raising our voice on that topic as well. I think especially in Western Europe, this is something where fee increases have been over proportional, and we need to sort of get back to more competitive levels also between countries. I think that's definitely one of the key points. And obviously on the supplier side, yes, we're trying to use our cloud as much as we can.
Yeah. So we said we are leisure airlines, so you've got that core summer market. The good news, I think, is the summer season in Turkey is kind of expanding, and you can explain in a minute why that is. But then you have the quieter months to cope with as well.
Absolutely.
So how are you dealing with that challenge?
Well, I think our airline is sort of known for traveling off the beaten path, or the off the beaten flight path, if you like. We do things differently. We ordered aircraft when everybody else was kind of hunkering down. And we've had a significant network expansion. Again, 237 routes, 92 destinations, 35 countries. That speaks for itself. We have added to the Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Riviera trunk routes. We've added other countries. We've had a big splash in the UK and Ireland, still growing. And then beyond that, we're doing a lot of partnerships. So we have, for example, a partnership with South African where we supply aircraft, maintenance, and cockpit crew in our wintertime, their summertime. Beautiful win-win collaboration. We have a partnership with Air Cairo where we offer over 130 frequencies from Egypt into Western Europe. We basically give some of our crew to cruise lines, MSC, in our wintertime to provide utilization. So there's many examples of what we do to offset that. And then there's a third growth engine, which is kind of beyond the airline scope, more into the aviation and beyond scope. And here, for example, we're looking into technical maintenance activities. We are bidding for a hangar at the moment in Antalya, up to 12 bay aircraft bay hangar, which would allow us to offset and to provide some of the heavy maintenance activities for ourselves as well.
One of the other challenges is when you talk about maintenance is getting the right people and actually just the volume of skilled engineers. I don't think that's a challenge that's going to go away anytime soon. So again, how are you coping with that? And you said before we started, it's not a bad place to go and to live and work. If you want to.
Well, I think there's three things. If we go by the Maslow pyramid of needs, you have money. Obviously, you have to be competitive, and I think we are. Second is kind of the culture and the family spirit of the company. And SunExpress, if you haven't witnessed it yourself, I'd invite you to do that. It's just a great place. I said at the beginning of COVID, for example, I wouldn't want to be in any other place in a time of crisis than SunExpress. So the family spirit in that company is fantastic. Yeah. And the third is Antalya is not too shabby to live. We're right on the water, right on the Mediterranean coast. It's a beautiful place to live. Turkey is a beautiful country, warm-hearted people, great food, beautiful nature. So yes, that is definitely a plus in employment, attractiveness, and I think that bundle together is a pretty appealing proposition.
Let's finish by talking about the actual experience, onboard experience. Quite a lot of the exhibitors we see behind us are doing things around with technology to enhance the onboard experience. You're not a low-cost model.
No, we're not.
You offer more than the sort of the low-cost experience. So what are you doing as SunExpress to just make people enhance that experience and maybe over-deliver?
Well, I'll try to keep it short, but basically we have three main building blocks on the operational side. We're doing things like fuel prediction, delay prediction, load factor prediction, that are sort of going from a probabilistic more into a AI and agentic AI models. Yeah. The second part is on the commercial side. So we're doing a lot of AI use on the pricing revenue management side. And then the third item is the customer side. And here we have really great applications. For example, in our call center, we're detecting sort of the tension and mood of our callers by facial and sound recognition. And we can tell you, well, I think Lee wants to just buy an extra seat, or Lee's a little irritated right now. You might want to, accommodate that need or this need. So we're really looking into, that's just exemplary examples here, but I think the whole range of topics, again, operationally, commercial, and customer is where we're.
And you'll work with a lot of third parties as well. Your customers are always transacting directly with the airline. You'll work with other tour operators. So we know there's that move to order offer and trying to bring the industry together to work more collaboratively on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, on the seat-only side, so the ones that go directly through us, that's kind of where we're first mover a lot of times, because we can implement, we can test, we can, succeed fast or fail fast and change it, right? With tour operators, because there's a bunch of them, right, and it's roughly half of our business, we have to basically link into their systems and sort of exchange data, and we need the rights for that, obviously. So that's a bit more complicated, but there's a huge push also from the tour operators to work together on this and make that a better customer experience after all. So I think slightly behind in terms of timing, but not in terms of interest or drive and energy being dedicated to it.
Yeah, intent. So final question on the show this week. You come here regularly, and it's a great place to get everyone together for 3 days. What do you take out of coming here to World Aviation
Well,
Festival?
I literally just arrived, so
Not a lot
so far it's you, and that's very nice to meet you. But I literally just got here, but I'm sure it's the network, it's the exchange, new ideas, and
Cool. Max, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
All right, take care. Thanks.
That's day 2 of World Aviation Festival, and we're now on the stand of Data Clarity. I'm joined by Paul Bilham, who is the Chief Revenue Officer for Data Clarity. Now, a lot of stuff goes on at these shows. Yep. Usually it's business as normal, but not so for you. You had a very big announcement just this morning or last night.
We did.
Tell me what it is.
We did. Well, as of today or last night, Data Clarity has been acquired and become part of InFly. So we've announced that to the market and the world this morning. We had a smaller select group last night. Very excited to share the news. I think the market is looking for one provider that can do everything, and we have huge ambition to be that provider.
Yeah. Just explain what you do as Data Clarity and what is InTravel do, and how the synergies all work together.
Sure. So maybe we walk the other way. So InFly do end-to-end retail systems as well as onboard connectivity, and I think our perspective is a little different. So at Data Clarity, we've built from the back moving forward. There is some overlap in terms of what we do, but part of the process of bringing the two companies together is going to be bringing the best of both worlds. So our expertise and knowledge in data, integration, operations, warehousing, and forecasting, alongside the connectivity, the crew and passenger-facing products that InFly have. And we really believe we're going to have a very powerful solution for the market.
Yeah. So what I know what you are experts in is helping those airlines operate within the cabin much more effectively and efficiently, so that they've got the right products on board.
That's right.
Sort of forecasting what demand is, and And that's what you're bringing to the in-flight guys.
It's that, and also it opens up a lot of exciting avenues, because with what in-flight do, particularly in the connectivity and passenger-facing space, they have access to additional data points. So we'll be able to look at the interactions passengers have with the onboard IFE, with ordering from their seat, the kind of content they look at, and bringing that data together along with the retail data is going to unlock a lot more in terms of personalizing to passengers, broadening up the product offering, and making everything a lot more interesting for the passengers that you're taking on board.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more about M-Fly, and you'll know them well, having been spent the last God knows how long talking to them about this deal.
Yeah.
So I know they're Spanish. They're a Spanish-based company. They're not that old. They've been founded. The founders are quite young.
The founders are very young, much younger than me. So they were founded by Pablo and Jimmy, I think 13 years ago now.
Right.
And the guys have built up a great business over that time. I think I was talking to somebody this morning who helped them win their first deal, but they've established themselves over time, both in the retail space in terms of the solutions they provide to a number of airlines, but also moving into connectivity and content provisioning on board as well. They're based in Barcelona. They have a very nice office, which is an asset to us, as well as a kind of a big demonstration center where customers are able to come and look and see what they do. And part of what we'll be doing moving forward is broadening that out to show where we're taking this with the addition of Data Clarity to the in-flight family.
So how do things move forward practically? Data Clarity, the two businesses continue to operate as they have done with personnel and the offices, but obviously there's going to be synergies.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of work goes into making a deal like this, but the hard work starts now. So we will be post-show starting to work on how we first bring the products together, so you have a one-stop shop for the integrated solution. From a personnel perspective, there's great teams on both sides, and we'll be looking to expand that as well. In terms of the businesses, the Data Clarity brand today still lives, and we just have new ownership. How that shapes up in the future, I think there'll be some consolidation and bringing that together.
Yeah. So what you've been here now a couple of days and had lots of chats, and there's a fair amount of attention on you because of the news. So what's your feeling in terms of what the delegates that you want to speak to are here to talk to you about this week? Are they really now eager for the kind of services and products that you can provide to them?
Yeah, I think it's how they can move forward as well, because the onboard retail is quite mature. People have been doing it for a long time. There's tried and trusted models. Obviously, airlines, the highest priority is stability of what they have. And now they're looking, how do we move this forward in terms of the interactions with passengers, in terms of sustainability and reducing waste. The technology, I think, is there today, and I talked yesterday about this on a panel. The technology is there, but it's now moving into the adoption phase and how you start to leverage all of the additional stuff you can do in reality. And we've had a lot of conversations with airlines both yesterday and today about how we're going to help them do that.
Yeah. I think I caught some of the earlier sessions this morning. Willie Walsh is always good value, and he's always talking about how the industry has got a lot of cost pressures on it. It's got a lot of expectations around move to sustainability and what it's going to cost the industry. And yet, on the other side, the revenue is not sort of keeping pace. It's not nowhere near where it needs to be. So, as a general rule, you see the aviation industry, the airlines in the aviation industry, they just need to find new ways to optimize revenue opportunities, don't they?
Yeah, and I think it's really about impact, though, what it does. So revenue is one side of the house, and it's also the cost side, because if you're operating more efficiently, you can bring costs down. We all know that airlines have significant waste today. So squeezing money in terms of the upfront revenue from passengers, whether that's through better product, better offering, more personalization is one side of the house. And the other side is, how do I get my costs down by not taking things that don't sell, by not throwing so much away. So there's kind of two sides to that coin.
Yeah. The hard part sometimes is you want to take more revenue from a customer without them kind of feeling it. It's like the old adage of plucking the goose without it squeaking, kind of thing, squawking. And I think if you do that in a ways that the customer feels is personalized to them, and you're offering them the thing that they actually do want, they don't see it as being they see it as being a service that they'd happily pay for, and that's the key thing.
Yeah, and it's what you're going to add to what you do today. So yesterday, I think SAS were talking about adding Arlanda Express train tickets, which is quite a lucrative model for them. I think I don't know how it works in terms of commissions, but it's something that passengers want outside of that kind of core experience of booking a seat and maybe additional ancillaries. And I think there's going to be more and more opportunity in that space to start adding things that are relevant in the end. We all travel. Most of us have traveled to get here. If there's something interesting, you will tend to spend, but it needs to be different because there's a lot of saturation of the same things. When it's different things, it tends to drive people more towards it. And yesterday, KLM were talking about how they engage with their passengers for upgrades and have some quite sophisticated mechanisms to do that. It's those kind of things that start to make a difference, because if I feel like I'm getting value or something that is unique to me, then I'm more likely to spend my money. I'm quite happy to spend if I see some value in it.
So now in this new world with new owners, what is the roadmap for data clarity? Where do you want to develop your technologies and expertise?
The initial roadmap, and I think it's important to kind of think of it as one company now. So the initial roadmap is the integration of the system, so we have the best in breed, and then it's how we expand beyond that. Our foundations have come in data. We have expertise outside of aviation and retail. How do we take those learnings over to the airline space so they get much richer data on their passengers and are able to use that to improve their offering? And it's going to be a process. We'll be working through that. We already have quite an aggressive and ambitious roadmap, and the hard work starts now delivering that.
Yeah. And a final word on the show. It's probably today's the busier day of the three. Traditionally, I think it's quite buzzy today.
Yeah.
So it's a very broad show. I mean, a lot of different people. There's other shows out there which we've met at, which are very more specific about what you do. This, you can see all sorts of different kind of vendors doing all sorts of technologies, etc. So is this still important for an industry to get together to have that sort of broad view of what's going on in the sector?
It is, absolutely, because I think you get that valuable face time with people. We all grew used over the sort of last 4 or 5 years to using online tools for meetings and stuff, but the FaceTime is where you can really make the difference. For us, it's also interesting to see what other people are doing, to take inspiration from it, and to see what is becoming relevant in the market. So yeah, absolutely, for me, I enjoy these 3 days very much. They're tiring, they're hard work, but immense amount of value out of it.
Yeah. Well, look, Paul, thanks for that. Go home, have a rest.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the next one.
Okay.
Cheers. Thank you.